Greetings everyone, it's Revival of Wisdom. I facilitate human enlightenment through occult and esoteric teachings. I hope this video expands your mind into a new field of thought. In this video, we're going to be discovering the true esoteric meaning of the 7 planetary energies. So let's jump straight into this. In order to fully understand this, you must understand that esoteric teaching is as above, so below, and as within, so without. Our inner world is mirrored into our external material reality. We have a physical voice, which you are hearing right now, and I also have an inner voice, which no one else can hear. The inner world is invisible, and the external world is visible. In other words, the inner world is the spiritual world, and the outer world is the material world. The inner world of ourselves reflects and projects our outer world, which means everything in our external reality is a somewhat reflection of our internal self. You are made in the image and likeness of God. You yourself are the universe experiencing itself in a 3-dimensional physical form. The Newtonian science has programmed you to believe that you are a physical being inside of a physical universe. They did this to limit your mind to only believing there is a physical universe and that you are separate from the universe or God. But you yourself are the divine essence of the universe, experiencing itself in a physical plane, which means everything you see is inside of you, including the stars, the planets, and the elements. As above, so below. As within, so without. An example of this is the 4 physical elements: fire, earth, water, and air. In the external world, these are physical elements. In our internal world, they represent the 4 bodies of consciousness. We have 4 different bodies. We have a material body, we have a spiritual body, an emotional body, and a mental body. The mind is not made out of the same substance as the body. The emotions is not made out of the same substance of the mind and the body. These bodies exist in 4 different dimensions, 4 layers of consciousness. With that being said, the 4 physical elements are inside of us. The earth is our material physical body. Fire represents our spiritual astral light body. Water represents our transformative and emotional body. Air represents the mental body, the communicative and thinking body. This is the teaching as above, so below. If that resonates with you and you can comprehend it, please leave a like and a subscribe to this channel to see more content. And feel free to leave a comment on any video suggestions. Okay, so now we've gone over the 4 physical elements and how they correspond with your inner world of consciousness. This is going to make it easier for you to understand what the planets actually are. The planets are a bit more in-depth and more detailed aspects of our consciousness. The 4 physical elements are generic, but the 7 planets go deeper. They are deeper aspects of ourselves. On a macrocosmic scale, the 7 planets rule the material realm. Every object, every animal, every plant, every stone, everything we see in this plane is governed and created under one of the 7 planets. I don't really like calling them planets. They are energies. They are spiritual forces that drive things into existence. An example of this is if we look at a tree. The roots of the tree are governed by Saturn. The stem of the tree is governed by the sun. The leaves of the tree are governed by the moon. Any offspring or fruit of the tree is governed by Jupiter. Any defense mechanisms of the tree is governed by Mars. The communication and networking of the tree is governed by Mercury. The smell and the look of the tree is governed by Venus. Everything we see in this material plane is governed by one of these specific energies. Everything material has a spiritual force that brings it into physical existence. This is the reason why we have 7 days of creation in the Bible. The 7 days of the week, all governed by the planetary energies. Monday is moon day for the moon. Mars governs Tuesday. Mercury is Wednesday. Jupiter is Thursday. Venus is Friday. Saturn is Saturday. And Sunday is for the sun. This is the reason why there are so many sevens in this physical plane. 7 days of the week. the 7 colors, the 7 chakras, the 7 diatonic musical notes, the 7 lamps on the Jewish candlestick, the G inside of the Masonic square and compass. G is the 7th letter. Now let's go a little bit deeper into every planetary energy. Saturn in the external material plane governs the foundational and enduring aspects of existence, such as roots of plants, the bones of our body, and even the insects that dwell beneath the ground. Saturn represents the dull, hard, and unyielding forces of life, symbolizing structure, limitation, and conditioning. Under Saturn's influence, things become rigid, bound by restrictions and boundaries. This is the reason why Saturn is known as Father Time, because Saturn rules anything that is a restriction and a limitation, which is time. The whole of this material plane is governed by time. You will be born and you will die. This explains why there is so much Saturn symbology in this material plane. Saturn is one of the most important planetary energies. You are a spiritual being in a physical body. Your light, your consciousness is bound to the physical body until you learn how to escape the physical body. The body is a limitation for our infinite minds and spiritual bodies. Our infinite mind is stuck in this material body, governed by Saturn's limitation of time, matter, and space. Now let's dive into what Saturn means to our consciousness within our internal world. We've gone over what Saturn means in the external world. What does it mean to our consciousness? Internally, Saturn embodies the conditioning within our consciousness. When the Saturnian aspect of our consciousness dominates, we become overly rigid, fixated, and restricted in our thinking and actions. For example, Saturn's influence is strongly felt in today's world, where many people's minds are confined to societal norms and conditioned responses. Saturn is the aspect of our consciousness, our minds, such as limiting belief systems and limiting thoughts and emotions. This is the negative thought that you can't get rid of that's holding you back. This is a Saturn aspect of our consciousness. However, this is not a negative thing. The Saturnian aspect of our consciousness is a great teacher, guiding us through difficult life lessons that ultimately lead us to growth and expansion. Saturn's energy allows us to experience and overcome fears and limitations so our minds can expand into new fields of thought, into new life. Although Saturn's energy is harsh and often challenging, it helps us develop resilience, discipline, and wisdom. However, in the modern day, this Saturnian energy has overpowered the minds of the masses, fostering excessive rigidity and limitation. This is why we see so much Saturn symbolism. It's literally everywhere because our minds are being dominated by the Saturnian limiting aspect of our consciousness. Now, let's move on to the moon. The moon, or lunar energy, in the external material macrocosm plane governs the elements of water, influencing the natural cycles such as the ocean tides, which rise and fall in harmony with the moon's phases. Beyond water, the moon also guides instinctual behaviors such as animal migrations. Birds, insects, and other creatures rely on the moon's subtle energies to navigate their journeys. For example, dung beetles use polarization patterns in the moonlight to orient themselves and travel safely home. The moon creates the months. M-O-N is moon. There are 28-day cycles, and this 28-day cycle of the moon is reflected in the woman's body, known as the menstrual cycle. The moon is a feminine energy, governing the feminine elements such as water and the feminine cycles of the body. The moon is the womb. This is why eggs have the same color as the moon, because eggs are ruled by the moon's energy. Now that's the external world. The internal world, the moon symbolizes the emotion aspect of our consciousness. It represents the subconscious mind, the seat of intuition and psychic abilities. Just like in the external world, things are born out of the moon, such as eggs and the womb. The subconscious mind acts as a womb for our conscious mind. Our deep subconscious emotions and programs are born into light into the conscious mind and controls the conscious mind. The moon represents our hidden psyche, our shadow self. Now let's go on to the sun. The sun represents the life force. In the material external world, the sun is ruling over pretty much all life. The sun gives life to all things. Without the sun, animals could not exist, the human body could not work, and plants would not grow. The sun is the life force. It's the soul of the world. Now, in our internal world of consciousness, the sun represents our passion, our drive, our conscious mind. The aspect of our internal world that wants to drive things and give life to physical manifestation. Now we go on to Mars energy. Mars is well known for being the god of war. Mars energy manifests into the material plane through anything that seeks to protect or defend itself. For example, the holly tree. The holly tree leaves are very sharp and they defend itself. Anything that is protective in the material world has Mars energy and is governed by this specific aspect of consciousness. For example, any predators or animals such as hedgehogs with spines on their backs for protection. Mars represents all things that is driven by conflict, aggression, and defense. Now, internally, inside of our inner world, Mars symbolizes the aspect of our consciousness that is focused on self-preservation and protection. Mars governs our ego, the instinctual urges of anger or maintaining reputation. Mars is not evil, it's necessary. Sometimes it's necessary for us to protect ourselves. Mars is the aspect of our consciousness that is anger, rage, the desire to fight or conquer. When this energy is activated within our consciousness, we become defensive, assertive, and even combative, ready to dominate others and destroy obstacles in our way. Now let's move on to Venus energy. Venus in the external material world manifests its energy through the aesthetics of creation. This planet governs the beauty and harmony found in nature, including the nurturing environment of a mother's womb where life begins. Venus embodies the essential love, not only in romantic relationships, but also in the bonds between family members and all living beings. Venus represents relationships. We have relationships between plants, animals. They all depend on each other to give life. Plants provide food and medicine, while living creatures contribute to their own growth and pollination. Internally, Venus represents the aspect of our consciousness that yearns for relationships and connections with others. This is an aspect of our consciousness that encourages to care for our physical appearance and embracing beauty. Aesthetics play a role in our interactions and self-expression. This is why there is a beauty brand called Venus. Now let's move to Jupiter energy. Jupiter in the material plane manifests its energy as forces of fortune, abundance, and wealth. This energy manifests itself as plants, as fruits that we can consume and eat in abundance. Anything that is nourishing and cultivated by the earth for humanity and animals. Jupiter embodies the giving energy that provides for and sustains life, fostering growth and ensuring that resources are available to all. Its influence is seen in the natural cycles of abundance, where fruits must grow and ripen before they are enjoyed, symbolizing the importance of effort and patience. Internally, in our spiritual world, Jupiter represents the aspect of our consciousness that yearns for abundance and seeks growth in various aspects of our lives, including wealth, knowledge, and personal development of the mind, spirit, and the soul. This is the aspect of our consciousness that wants to gain wealth, that wants to gain expansion and abundance in our lives. However, when Jupiter's energy dominates our consciousness excessively, it can lead to feelings of stinginess and greed. It represents material possession. The last planet is Mercury. Mercury in the external world governs the vital elements such as seeds, air, communication, education, and electricity. Known as the messenger of the gods, Mercury rules over intellect, communication, and the transmission of knowledge. Mercury's states of consciousness manifests itself in the material plane as the network between trees and plants, how they all communicate together. It represents the intelligence behind all physical things. It's the intelligence behind the seed that allows it to grow into a plant. Mercury's creative energy is manifested in the nervous system of the human body and all living animals. the intricate messenger that transmits signals from the body to the brain and then to the mind. This intelligence within us allows us to facilitate thought and movement. Internally, in our spiritual aspects of consciousness, Mercury is the state of consciousness that seeks knowledge, understanding, and intellectual growth and expansion. This part of us is curious, eager to learn, and driven to communicate ideas and information. It represents our mental body. The Roman god Mercury is often depicting flying because this symbolizes the air. Air represents our mental body. When the Mercury aspect of our consciousness dominates, we become highly intellectual, constantly seeking information, analyzing situation, and communicating our ideas. While this can enhance our understanding and ability to interact with the world, an excess of Mercury's influence can lead to overthinking, excessive analysis, and focus on intellect over emotions or intuition. Okay, so they are the 7 planetary energies in the external world and your internal world of consciousness. These energies are manifested in the Roman mythology as human beings. They are depicted as human beings, but this is nothing but symbolism. These gods never existed physically. They represent aspects of our consciousness and spiritual forces that govern the material plane. Every material object, every intelligence, every piece of life in this universe is governed and brought into existence by one of these spiritual forces. Now, I hope this video has expanded your mind into a new realm of thought. Make sure to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to the channel for more occult and esoteric information. You can read more about this topic and many more occult and esoteric teachings inside of my books, the Book of Wisdom Volume 1 and the Book of Wisdom Volume 2. I honestly advise that not everyone reads these books. These are books which will completely transform your view on reality. You will feel a lot better reading these books because you will find a connection with yourself and the universe. Understanding truth and knowing thyself gives you a sense of well-being. Like I said, this is not just a book. This is a beginning of your journey of expansion and growth. Reading them can be life-changing. Inside my university, I host live calls where you can ask me questions, and you can watch all the pre-recorded live calls. You also gain the ability to manifest your own reality through the Manifestation Mastery course. There is also a library with all of the PDFs that I've read in the past of occultism, symbolism, and esotericism that you can gain access to. There is a whole lecture section where you can watch all of my occult lectures. This is a place of transformation. The price of the university will be going up very soon. If you join now, you will gain a free sexual alchemy course which will teach you how to transmute sexual energy into creativity. I'll leave all the links in the description for the university and also my website where you can get my books. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care.